Hey everyone, Jessica Gabasi here. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you guys how to transform this image. We're going to be doing skin retouching and we're going to be doing some coloring to this photo. Now, what I'm going to be doing differently is coloring this photo a little bit more cinematically. I've been using some new coloring methods for my videos and a lot of you guys asked me how I did that. So I thought it would be interesting to incorporate that same type of coloring into my portraits, and the result is so cool. I'm really excited to show you guys how to do it. So before we get started, I want to thank the lovely people at Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Whether you need a domain, a website, or even an online store, make your next move with Squarespace. They have award-winning designer templates that are really easy to use, and they have an all-in-one platform, so there's never anything to upgrade, patch, or install, so you don't have to worry about that. If you're not that great at coding, don't even worry, it's super easy. And another thing that I love is that they have award-winning customer service. So if you're like me and you mess things up or you want to add something to the website and you don't really know how, someone is always there to help you and chat with you. So my website is created with Squarespace, and you can start your free trial today at squarespace.com and just enter offer code Jessica to get 10% off your first purchase. And tell me how you like it, because I love using them. So without further ado, let's get started on this picture. And I'm really excited to skin edit because I haven't retouched in a quick minute. Okay, it's been a couple months. Actually, I'm being dramatic. It's only been a month, but I just feel left out. So we're going to start off by going to the actions section because I actually have an action for frequency separation, so I don't have to keep redoing all the steps. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about right now and you're really looking at your computer screen like, you're like, what is she talking about? I have a whole video on frequency separation if you have no idea what I'm talking about. So I'm going to link it below. If you already know how to do frequency separation, you can just skip through half this video. I mean, not half of it, but you know, like a minute, because it's not going to take me that long. So we have the frequency. Look how easy, look how beautiful that is. Like, it's so cute. Thanks, best friend. You just did all the work for me. So this action is kind of like just a friend that does everything for you, like a bridesmaid, like maid of honor. There you go. That's the maid of honor action. So we're going to start off with the skin, and as you guys know, or if this is your first time watching, then you wouldn't know, but I like to duplicate my layers because I like to always have a backup. So press Command J on the skin layer, so it just leaves a copy, again, just in case you mess up, because nobody's perfect. Isn't that like a Miley Cyrus thing? Like, nobody's perfect? I'm trying to ask my sister, but she's not listening to me. Okay. I'm zoomed in here, and I'm going to go ahead and turn off the texture layer because it helps me see what I need to correct a little bit better. Holding down the Alt key, I'm starting off with the lighter sections, and I'm staying in that same area. I'm not using a darker color in a lighter area, so keep light colors in the same section, and you just press Alt, hold the Alt Option key, click, and then just click some more. So the technique here is the clicking technique used by the greats, and by greats probably just like two people, probably just me. I'm not saying that I'm great, but I don't think anyone would name it, you know, something very lame like the clicking technique, but you know what, this works. And please don't be discouraged if it's your first time doing this and it doesn't look quite right, because it took me a good couple months to really perfect this. So just keep practicing. And again, as you can see, I am picking up my cursor and moving it around every so often. I'm not staying in one spot, which is, I think, the mistake some people make is they keep it in a certain area. They don't move their sampling around. So just move your samples around. Okay, keep those samples moving. And I try not to touch this under eye area. I want it to be as natural as possible, even though it's like all being retouched. It's fine. It's cool. At least something's gonna be natural, her under eye. So I'm gonna go ahead and maybe if my computer wasn't going so slow, then I could actually do this faster. Okay, this computer is being tossed out like after this. Okay, for areas like this, again, you're just taking a lighter section and going over, and I wouldn't recommend sliding around like this. The clicking technique, as I talked about before, it's very effective, you guys. Just click a lot in the same area. And you're probably thinking, well, Jessica, that's not very professional, but you know what? It works. So it doesn't matter. Okay, so my mom is calling me. Yes, I ate. Thank you. Yes, I ate. Okay, so I restarted my computer because it was going too slow. So there we go. Now this is how it's supposed to be. Perfect. I am just trying to transition some colors. As you can see, I am using some lighter colors, but I'm just sort of trying to blend these colors in smoothly. And sometimes what I'll do, if the colors aren't exactly blending properly, I'll go on over to the blur tool. And please use this, you know, don't use this completely all over, but just use it with discretion, you know, just a little bit. And it'll just blur in some areas. Again, just some areas that maybe you're having a hard time. It'll just help them transition a little bit better. But by no means should you use that completely all over the face. So I'm just putting some finishing touches to this. There we go. So if there's any areas, or if there are any areas that are not transitioning well, or there's patches in color, I'm just going over that. I think that's looking pretty good. I'm going to do one last step here. See this patchiness right here? I'm going to fix that in just a second. There we go. Which is looking great. Some areas which I don't touch, the nose area, you usually don't like to mess with that unless there's a really weird shadow and I try to fix it. Lips, I don't really touch. Lines around the mouth, I'll retouch a little bit so that the shadows aren't too intense, but I usually won't get rid of them completely. I know some photographers that do. So this actually looks pretty good, except, do you guys notice this area right here? See how there's that patch of, I'm a psychopath, that's why I noticed that. So right there is being fixed up a little bit. Okay, so see, you know when you try to fix something and you actually make it worse, so then you have to fix the worst thing that you just did, and then it's even worse, and then you're like, damn, I should just left it alone. Okay, so that looks just fine. And what I like to do is actually turn the texture section back on, and you can see the differences that we made just by editing the skin. So real quick, what I'm going to do is make a new layer right under the texture layer. I'm just going to name it color. You can name it whatever you'd like. Go to the brush tool. Make sure hardness is at 0. You can toggle the size. Opacity here should be at 9 or something very low. What you want to do is sample a portion of skin, or actually right here, I'm going to sample right under the eyes. Actually, I'm going to start literally 2%. And the thing is, you can always add on. So since it's at 2%, it's not going to show up crazy, which is what you want, rather than if you started at like 10% and it went crazy. I'm just being dramatic, not even 10%, like 20%. Just under the eye, just to brighten it just a little bit. But some people overdo it. And again, sample colors along the same areas. Don't use this color all the way down here. So we're sampling, sample, click. So much professional techniques being taught here. Sample, click. Okay. Listen, I'm not about to get technical. Like, why would I get technical if it's pretty simple, you know? So after adding the color layer on there, turn that texture layer back on. Let me show you guys the difference this color layer made. Very slight difference, but trust me, it makes a difference. Last thing, duplicate that texture layer and then hide the top layer and go to the healing brush. And what we want to do is very accurately and Don't go too crazy with this because some people do. You're holding Alt Option and then you're clicking once. Okay, guys? Click once. Don't drag. Don't click. You can click more than once, but very small little clicks, okay? We're just removing any really big noticeable blemishes. We're not trying to make her skin like poreless. We're just getting rid of some of these little bumps. That's it. I actually stopped doing that. I stopped like editing completely all of the pores and everything. It looked like she had a shiny face. Like, you know, that airbrush look? That's not what we're going for today. The model's skin has a lot to do with it and the makeup artist you have, so I think that is also very important. So see this area right here, you're probably tempted to really edit all of it out. Again, I'm just stamping a little bit and I'm just going to keep most of that in there. We're going to go into coloring in just a moment, which is another favorite of mine. Look at that's beautiful. It looks great. That looks great. So there you have it. That is exactly how I would be retouching this photo. Let me show you guys a quick before and after. That's before and that's after. It's very subtle. It looks very natural. And also, if you think this is too much for any reason, go down to the skin copy that you just worked on and just lower that opacity, and it'll let a little bit more of the natural skin show through. So if you don't want it to look as retouched, just go ahead and lower the opacity. So the second part of this video is going to be coloring this photo, which is my favorite part. So let me save this and then I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how I color this picture. So I wanted to reference some colors that I've been using for my videos. And actually it's cool because you can use the same colors in your videos on your pictures here. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Now before I show you guys, I want you guys to know that you're going to have to be downloading a file. It's called a LUT. It's called the LUT. I don't know if that's really how you're supposed to be saying it, but it's a color profile that, again, is used on videos. A lot of editors use it, and I use it on my videos, and people were asking me, oh, how did you get that sort of color? I thought it was cool, so I'm like, hey, let me try to get that same color on my portrait. So go to Layer, New Adjustment Layer, and then Color Lookup. And I'm going to show you guys, after you download the 3D LUT, you can go ahead and select it from this list here. And the one that we're using is this one. It's Arapaho. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Probably not. Don't myself, probably not. And we're doing the standard cube file. And when you select it, you'll see it changes the tone of the picture. And I'm going to show you guys some other examples. Aspen is one that I really like also. Sedona is one that I use on a lot of my videos. So you can see that this changes the photo drastically, and it's so easy to use. You just kind of load a file and it transfers that color profile onto your photo. So it's really great. You can use it for a plethora of things, really. So for this tutorial, we're going to be using the Arapaho, so I'm going to go back to that. And I'm going to lower the opacity to about 63. So we started off by adding that, and then we're going to go to selective color. So layer, new adjustment layer, and then selective color. And we're going to go over if you want, you can. So I'm going to go to layer, new adjustment layer, and then selective color for the next step. And we're going to drop down to neutrals. And we're literally just going to add a little bit of black just because I want some more texture and detail in the face. And then we're going to go on over to yellows. I really want the yellows to pop a little bit more. So as you can see, we're going to do just that. Again, popping out those yellows. If you really want it to be a little bit crazy, you can go all the way with it, but I'm going to keep it around 41 right now. And again, the blacks really give you that detail. So don't be afraid to toggle that if you want more definition and detail in your photo with selective color. Next thing we're going to do is go on over to gradient map. And I already have a gradient chosen. It's the orange to green gradient. You can go ahead and click through and find one that you like, but this one works well. And we're not going to keep it like this, you guys. We're going to go from normal to luminosity, and it's something that I picked up. I really love this. If you just lower the opacity, this gradient map trick will bring back all that extra detail. See how it's a little bit more bold? It kind of just softens up the picture. It gives you that vintage look. Absolutely love using this, especially if I find my pictures are too contrasted. I just add in this gradient map and it works like a charm. So definitely would recommend that. The opacity is going to be at 14%. Next thing we're going to do is go on over to a new fill layer, and we're just going to add a little gradient just so we can pop out a little bit more color in this photo. Choose the orange. It's probably not going to look as polished as it was in my original like reference image. So I'm going to put this right here, pretend it's the sun, but we all know it's not. Oh, that's too much. Okay, so I'm just scaling this a little. I added the style to be radiant. I'm pressing OK, and we're going to add this and make it overlay. Now it's looking fake, which is why you got to lower that opacity. We're going to use another selective color because it's my favorite layer ever. You guys know me. And actually, since we're on yellow, let's just start with that. So again, the blacks really control a lot of the detail in each of those colors, which is why but I usually love toggling neutrals and blacks. That's my favorite. Those are my favorite tabs. So just think of whenever you guys are, using this, just, oh my God, that's Jessica's favorite. Yeah, those two right here. When you just think of me, okay? But yeah, because that's my favorite. Those are my favorite ones. After years of using selective color, it gets the award. And whites, be careful using this. I know some people like really go crazy and they make the yellows into blue and yellow. If that fits your coloring, great, but I don't go too crazy with that. So yeah, just use it sparingly. Neutrals, again, my favorite thing ever. I don't go too crazy. I like to add a little bit of magenta, and I always like to toggle the black and the neutrals because, again, like it just brings out so much. Okay, don't do that. But it just brings out some detail that was never there. So neutrals and blacks are really cool if you want some really funky coloring. This is your tab. So yeah, I already kind of have all these numbered how I want them. But let me show you guys real quick. For instance, cyan right here, you drop that down and it fills in the blacks with red, which is really cool. And I don't know, it just really depends on what type of coloring you want. And I love to use violet in my photos, so I just drop down that magenta. And as you can see, it fills in that black with the purple. But for the sake of this tutorial, we're not going to do that right now. And we're actually going to be dropping this opacity to about 83%. One of the last steps is a curves layer. So again, layer, new adjustment layer, curves. And let's add that final touch to this. Hopefully I don't ruin this. Okay, I ruined it already. Okay, that didn't take long. So, okay. I just want to add a little bit of contrast. Okay, that's too much. Okay. So I don't want it to look like too vintage, like Grandma's Closet. I found this in Grandma's Closet. Okay, that's pretty cool. Needs a little bit of pop right there. Okay, here we go. I also don't want to blow out any highlights or anything. Even though like that's just, this part is just gone, like there's no saving that. I don't know if I even like it without that. There we go. Okay, this is pretty good. I feel like okay, that looks great. This is exactly how I wanted it, and then I'm gonna tweak it because that's what people do. That's what photographers do. They work 20 million years on one picture. And I would say this is finished. Just add a little bit of vibrance. It won't hurt anybody. Is that okay with you guys? Okay, here we go. Like, did you even notice that? Let me just round all these layers up and group them so I can show you guys a before and after. Are you guys ready? So this is before. Oh my God, I wow. Damn, Jessica, you did good. Look at this. I shocked myself. I didn't even know I was capable of that. Wow. Like, I'm not trying to like toot my own horn, but this looks good. It's that color lookup thing. You guys, it's crazy. You guys go download 1 billion of these. They're amazing. Let me show you guys without the color lookup. You guys ready? That's without the color lookup. So without that color profile, that Arapaho color profile, that 3D LUT, that's how it looks. So that's with it, and that's without it. Isn't that just beautiful? It really just changed the tone of the image, and it just ties it all in together. So for any reason you want even more of that, just go ahead and up that opacity. There you go. Have fun with it. So this is the end of the tutorial. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I really hope you guys like this. Please suggest something else that you'd like to see, and as always, thank you guys so much for watching.